Welcome to Talk of the Monarchy. I'm your host, Ryan Nichols, and we have our official third guest on the show. Good friend of mine, someone I've known for 12, 13 years, Kieran Baggs. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure. So, Kieran, you have been in the industry for 13, 14 years?
Yeah, so as an affiliate owner, I think that was maybe 11 years when I left Civitas, but in CrossFit for a lot longer. Probably was out of CrossFit Bath when they were just in a garage.
Good old days.
Yeah.
That's one of my questions. Before we go there, because I do want you to go there, paint the scene for me. So it's what, 2013 when you opened Civi? Or 2012?
2013 official open date,
Yep.
but plans for that started maybe 2012. Me and JD were bashing CrossFit in like commercial gyms, and getting the old rollerkins from the owners.
For dropping barbells.
And the handstand push-ups against the wall and stuff like that. And a lot of people were sort of wanting to train with us.
Yeah.
And we were like dashing down to CrossFit Bath like 2-3 times a week as much as we could.
Which would have been a bit of a trek in those days.
Yeah, like
before you get in there, who was the driver?
It was we both jumped in with Jamie Brewer a lot.
Oh, okay.
Another like CrossFit OG.
Yeah.
So you'd go down there in car schools, and because it was literally the only place around that did it, we were down there, and it was very, very old school. Shax is, like really infectious coach. Every single time you went down there, it was great, and I loved it. But obviously the commute took a lot of time.
Yeah, of course.
So we started trying to replicate some of their workouts of the day, WODs of the day.
WODs of the day.
We were doing that in commercial gyms, and we just had conversations with each other, like, oh, it'd be great to open up our own gym.
Are you worried about doing that in the fact that like Shax had sort of started this trend from your point of view? He's your friend, and like it can always be a bit of a funny, like you're in completely different towns, but did you have a conversation with him? Were you scared? Like when you made the plunge? What were your thoughts?
He was instrumental and really gave us amazing guidance. I think probably being like 45 minutes away, for some people
the threat was less.
Definitely. And he helped us with everything, with finding the level ones, where he got his kit from, where he was doing the programming for, which is everything was off CrossFit.com back then.
Yeah.
Programming, class sizes. Back then there was no WOD boards or team ups and things like that.
Sure.
So it was just, rock up and go. So he was great, and we had loads of conversations with him. And when we opened, it was just like a whirlwind, like CrossFit into Wiltshire.
You mentioned CrossFit.com. What was the support like from an affiliate back in 2013? Was there a support? Like I did a video the other day where I said that I think there should be more support for affiliate owners.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get back to Dave Castro or not, but it wasn't a lot. Yeah,
we can hope. But yeah, was there a point of contact, or was it relying on someone like Adam Shackle, who was a friend and a bit of a mentor?
Yeah, there was nothing from HQ apart from taking the franchise, the brand name, which is fucking massive. Like, not even at that time it was that big, but it was this new cool way of training, a little bit like High Rocks has been recently. It came into Wiltshire. There wasn't one in the area at all, so like everyone just wanted to jump on board. I remember we did an open day on the Sunday, which amazingly Shax brought like all his athletes down so they could like showcase what CrossFit is. And these guys are doing like muscle ups and toes to bar.
All the cool stuff.
Yeah. Everyone who came in, it was like, they just want to try it. And back then, I don't know if it's definitely had like a huge shift, but it was very much like military. You work yourself to the bone.
Yeah.
And like everyone comes in and you're screaming and you're shouting at each other. And like you almost go to the point of exhaustion on your intros.
Yeah. It's changed.
It changed loads, but that didn't actually put people off. It did, obviously some.
Yeah.
But like that sort of way of training, it was like, they come back for more. We had like people like, it sounds ridiculous, but like going outside and puking.
Yeah. Do you remember Danny Baker? Dragged into a session, went outside.
And then never come back. But like that happened loads because we almost were like motivators rather than like coaching. And I think that is slowly got so much better in the CrossFit world.
Yeah.
I think everyone's looking to get more qualifications. I know we were speaking recently, it's like you do your CrossFit level 1 and then it's like you get put away and crack on, do what
You
you
can
want.
do what you want.
And a lot of it was wrong. Some bits were right. Some bits that we changed as we grew.
And you're learning, right?
100%.
Your first business.
First business, first role.
So how old are you in
I was 23.
Yeah.
And which I'm 37 now. So, and JD I think was 21. So he was really young to open a business. And bear in mind, all we did was have I think we had 5K each, to open up on. We had one rowing machine. It was the bare minimum.
I remember a pallet.
And that's an iconic photo as well. And
you know what I mean?
when we spoke off air, I showed you the photo of you in the very first intro photo.
Yeah.
So that was what it was. And you coming from Chippenham, we had people coming from Calne, Devizes, everywhere. But we were very much making it up on the spot. I didn't think we even had a website when we first opened up. JD was always way ahead on social media, and even back then he was doing I think they call it CapCut now, but it was some app that would take little bits of videos, and he would post up photos, and it soon sort of gathered loads and loads.
I remember I'd drive over to Melksham, or at the time actually, when I was there for the longest period of time, because of a few stints with you guys, was I was working in Trowbridge. So it was really convenient to either hit it beforehand, or come back. So I'd come back and hit the class. But the best part was obviously leaving, feeling exhausted, exactly like you said. You've worked to the bone, but on your Twitter feed back then would have been some photos that would have been posted by, would have been you or Jono. One of you tended to take the class, the other one did snaps, and then you get tagged, and it was I wonder what cool picture has been posted me today.
And we used to do the leaderboard, right? We used to just everyone's name would come out through the day, whiteboard, and we used to put if you were in RX, which people really wanted, and I don't know if they still get that like that on the apps and stuff.
So we don't use the apps like that. We've had to do a committed club to get people to post their scores. And we'll touch on that later because I go into systems and how that changed and evolved for you guys. But I do know that the likes of Johnny, the affiliate trainer, and Davs, those guys, they still are pen and paper, green for RX or red for RX, etc. So that still happens in a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
And I was in Newcastle last week; they were the same.
Yeah, we did that for such a long period of time, and we'd post the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And then if you got someone's red pen wrong, they were replying on Twitter, I meant to be in red pen, Care, or JD, So it was very much the culture of our place, I think, was really fucking competitive. And some people really like that. And that's probably why Civitas, from an athlete perspective, always had a team at SID, and we always did our in-house competitions because it was the way that we liked to do it. We were always competing. We didn't want anyone to beat our scores, and you repeat your open workout 4 times and stuff like that. That's just what it was. It was very much that sort of Lion's Den feel when we first started off.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you caught much of mine and Ed's interview, but Ed references 2 times in his life where he's at his fittest, and one of them is when he was training regularly with you guys.
Yeah,
and he talks iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
So he said lots of competitive athletes, an environment where you are actively encouraged to go for it.
Yeah, and I think just the time of when this was happening, it was very much about that. We were making sure that everyone done the open, and we were trying to get the best 6 scores for the open to say that we were the fittest box in Wiltshire. And then we wanted to be the first box to get to strength and depth, which was massive fitness games at the time. And there was only 30 teams that qualified, and it was life or death CrossFit. And we did our own programming, and it was ridiculous and mental. We try and make it as hard as possible because that's the thought process, right? You're only going to get fitter by pushing yourself to the absolute limits. And in some respects, it's very naive, but we're 23, 21-year-olds. It was, I remember there's a funny story. We were doing a qualifier workout, and I think JD might have done it 2 times already, and he wanted to do it again to try and get some, more points on the leaderboard. And he's going through it, and I'm judging it, and he just couldn't get these handstand push-ups to finish the workout, and he just couldn't finish a rep, right? And he turned around and he just headbutted the door in pure rage, that. And that's what it, and so angry and so disappointed. And it was and to be fair, JD's an unbelievable athlete. He was always the top one to try and get to. And it just filtered through that. And that was sort of like the culture in it. Like you said with Ed, like you want to buy into that. And that's what I think made it so great in those early years.
Yeah. I think you're right. First and foremost, you open up a gym with your mates at an age where, first and foremost, you can hammer yourself every day, right? I certainly can't do it now. So you can hammer yourself every day. Like you said, the support from an affiliate point of view was probably thin.
Zero.
So
Zero. Like, I don't mind saying that. Like we were making it up on the spot. You got the CrossFit branding name, and you could call yourself CrossFit Civitas, and you were on. I don't think they even had an affiliate map finder at the time. So it was literally like money for old rope, right?
Yeah.
You were the name, but because at this point in time, Rich Froning was the absolute don, and it was so cool. You know, and like Reebok were the sponsors for them, and you could create your own lifters online. We all done it, didn't we? And we all had Civitas across the tongue in the strap.
Yeah.
And it was like this cult mentality. It just felt really, really cool. And I thought it was cool. I thought I was fucking cool as being an affiliate owner. And I thought like I could be like a really cool coach and like a really good athlete. And I had this sort of like vision of being the ultimate box around. But in terms of longevity, that doesn't last forever, right? I think.
So before you go into that, what did the numbers look like from a member? So you're one of the only gyms in the area.
Yes.
You've just said I've had people from Devizes, Calne, Trowbridge, obviously Melksham, Chippenham.
So we had the pick of the lot, right? So I think the nearest CrossFit box was Bath in Salisbury.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to remember that we opened up on our membership. This will be embarrassing, really, well, to what it is now. And I know inflation and prices and that increased through the years, but we opened up and our membership was £35 a month. Yeah. And it was just a standing order that went straight to the bank.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have like
I remember pay.
Yeah.
Come in. Yeah, you come in on the 2nd of the month and your name might be
you need to pay. And some people were like paying cash into a tin and whatever else. It was crazy. We've got no business experience. We went with a business plan and £5,000 in our ass pocket, and you know, put some horse matting down that we found on eBay. Got the smallest rig ever just to get people on it. I think we had I remember our business plan was to hit 70 members in a year, and that was like, will always stay with me, right? We were so nervous about it. Like, what if we can't pay the rent on the unit? And at this point in time, I was still working, so I didn't take a penny from the gym when we first opened. JD was still working, but he could be in there during the day and he'd coach in the morning and things like that. And then we'd close. We weren't actually taking a wage for a long, long time, maybe like a year to 18 months. So I was like finishing work in Bath and I was driving back and I was coaching all night. And I generally was never, ever tired because you're just so invested in it, right?
Yeah, mate. I've been there.
I think it was 3 months and we were at 80, 90 members and we were paying 35 quid and we were literally like, we won the lottery.
Yeah.
We've made it. We can do it now. This is amazing. And that feeling was like the first feeling like I'm a successful businessman. But little do you know, as life transpires,
but it grew. You took unit number next door.
Yeah. And then 3 as well.
And then the third one behind. So what was the gap between unit number 1 and unit number 2?
I genuinely think it might have been just a year for we were in unit 1. And
okay, that's flown.
I remember on a Friday, like we'd have a class of 35 turn up, right? And then like 2 people then turn up late. So that's it, 37. And we're in this box.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely a box of a shutter door. The next class were waiting outside, you know, and like queuing up, just looking around the corner. And it was really rough and ready. I just think that at that point, you just needed to grow or people were going to start getting pissed off.
Yeah, of course.
And there was an opportunity. The guy next door moved out. And I don't even think we got the keys officially, but we like had the unwritten rule from the landlord that, you can have that unit now. So before we could even get in the door, we just hit through the breeze blocks.
Yeah, nice.
But from one side. And people were still working out around the breeze blocks, like mental as that is. We were then built through to number 2. And then it was like, again, we've made it now. We've got 2 units, got more flooring. We had like a welder come in locally that welded that bar across the middle from bar to bar. And then we done the same to the third one. And this time in the third one, we had an upstairs sit-down area. And then we had the changing rooms. We had 3 toilets and an office. And you felt like, you're really into the mix now. I think that might happen maybe 3 years down the line. So it was a really quick growth and memberships kept going with memberships go increasing, the price of membership we could actually warrant putting up, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then it was the awkward moment of that as a business perspective for the first time. Oh my God, we're going to put our membership up to 50 quid, which now you bite your hand off for 50 quid now
Mate,
in the world, right?
But it's good though that you talk about that, because me and Ed talk about it, and we spoke about it on the last one. It's a really nervous moment, and I think it's weird because you know what you bring to the table, you know how much you influence people's lives, you know how much they love being there, and then you're like,
Nervous.
could we have £5 more per month? Like, you know, I pay more than that for a coffee on the M4, right? So it's like you're worried that someone might leave because of that, but the reality is, if anyone takes a second just to reflect on the value you're getting, and you're talking about starting a gym with a few kettlebells and a small rig, and then look to where it got, but it is always in the back of your mind, that self-doubt.
Yeah. And
always.
I think with the increase of expectation, right? Like if you're charging more,
what are we getting?
What do we get, guys? Like, you know, are we getting any new kit? Hopefully, when we can afford more. And, you know, that was pretty much it. Are we getting more classes? Yes, we're going to put more classes on to make sure that the people that are not waiting around now.
What the class timetable looked like when you guys started? Was it? Did you have a daytime class?
We didn't, but luckily we were open throughout the day, all the day, and I think that was a massive part of the culture at Sibby for when we were there from the second I left. You could come pretty much any time of the day and train, right? We had loads and loads of opportunities for open gym for people to come in and practice the stuff that they weren't very good at. We had the morning classes. We tried loads of different variations, and it is just trial and error, right?
Yeah.
And we used to have the old 8 p.m. class. We used to do 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we realized that people were turning up at like 4 o'clock to do open gym and waiting around till 5. And we think, you know, can we do a 4 o'clock class now, or 4:30, and everything shifts on. So it is very much trial and error. And I think everyone's different. I was speaking to a guy I work with now who goes to a CrossFit affiliate. He has a 5:45 class. So everyone finishes work at 5:30. He's got an opportunity to come in and hit that first one. So I think it's, again, dependent on location and dependent on your membership pool, what happens with your timetable.
Yeah, of course. And then you showed me a picture a couple of weeks ago, and it was my first induction.
Yeah.
And I remember Gary Banks.
Yeah, Banksy.
Good friend of mine, played football with Banksy, and I obviously know you know Gary really well. So I spoke with Banksy, and he said, "Oh, right, you want to come over and try CrossFit? You're going to really like it, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, fine." I think I came over with him and Ben Head.
Yeah.
Was in the picture, so we came over together. And I think Banksy actually did my induction. But back then, it was, I think, 40 quid.
Yeah.
And you did 2 Fridays.
Yeah, I think it might have been
something like that. It was 2 days that you couldn't join straight away. You had to do your induction. The induction money had to be cash.
Yeah.
And we would, and then you were able to get stuck into a class. That induction thing, was that something that you'd learned from Shaq's at Bath?
We just stole it.
Fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just patterned it off. Like, we went and done the induction, and even spoke to Shaq's like, "Do you mind if we come and do your induction?" As like a member, we've obviously been doing it a long time before this anyway. And how they walk through it, and you only have to look at where CrossFit Bath are now.
Yeah,
like they
do things by the book. They are the gym to copy.
They're the gold. They're with the gold standard, and that was always sort of in mine and JD's mind, in terms of making sure that all members, unless exceptional circumstances, they were doing CrossFit at other gyms.
Sure.
And back in the day, you had to get an email from the other affiliate owner to say, "Yeah, he's okay to train."
Okay.
So yeah, we patterned their intro off, and I think we kept that for a long time. And it was ring rows, push-ups, and air squats.
Yeah, I remember.
Run either side, and you come in and your arms were like flailing around, like you've never done 21 press-ups as fast as you can and then sprint it out to a 400. Yeah, you come into intro 2 and you go through all the jerks and making sure you can receive a barbell in the clean. Whereas I think.
So how is it done now?
Well,
like, so you obviously, you take new people from Shearwater, which was obviously your affiliate now, and even your time where you're at Civvy, so that wasn't that long ago. How does it look for a new person now? Can they just turn up and then you give them a little bit of extra guidance?
Yeah,
or do you put them through an intro? Like,
I think there was different, again, trial and error for everyone, right? Like for us, it was we put out an intro at 7 p.m. on the 10th of November. I can't make that one. And you didn't want to lose them, did you? Right? So you'd say, "Oh, just come in for a 1-to-1," and like me or JD during the day at whatever time they could do it with a one-to-one intro, and then, or it might be, can I come in with my mate and we'll just do a quick intro. So you just almost wanted to tick them off so they could get into classes, right? Just to say that you can see how they move. And some people, you knew as mates and you know that they've gone to the gym and you said, oh yeah, it's fine, just jump into a class, see how you feel, if you like it, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So I think, again, depending on who it was and the individual, and I guess my experience level of judging athletes, someone comes in and they look like they've worked out before, they might not need too much instruction of how to air squat, but it might be someone who looks petrified walking through the door, kissing a cuddle and looking after and whatever, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that was probably one of my biggest strengths, is identifying like in individuals' characteristics and making sure that, you know, some people might need a rocket up their ass, you know, during workouts, and some people might need a "you okay? Do you need anything extra?" And I think that was probably something that we got really good at as a company, as a business, as an affiliate.
So I think what you're talking about there, and then anyone and most people are going to know you who's watching this, right? But what you're talking about there is, I think that is that innate skill in life that you've always possessed, which is why you own another affiliate, which is why you've been a football manager, and which is why you've stepped into a corporate role and probably looks like you've done it your whole life. So knowing how to be with people, speak with people, interact, I think in terms of your key natural strength, that is something that you probably didn't even feel like you had to work on. Does that make sense?
I would agree to an extent, for sure. Like, I've got no problem with standing up in front of people, talking, acting confident. I think you touched on it as well, like the imposter syndrome that always comes across us, right? And I've definitely had that going into the world that is corporate. A completely new thing, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later. But I think that I've gone from almost that marine feel to CrossFit, and you think you had to like whip everyone and you learn very, very quickly that not everyone can respond to that, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to adjust your approach to the individual, and that comes with taking time to get to know people. And I think one of the best things about CrossFit is, for all its faults, one of the amazing things is that you are encouraged, right, to get to know every single person that walks through the door.
100%.
Right? And the more you can touch on personable things, you get to pick up on if they're having a good day or they're having a fucking bad day, right?
You'll know immediately, wouldn't you? It's like it's your missus. Because you see this person 5 days a week, you'll know by the way they walk in the room, shoulders up, back, smiling, whatever, you'll know how that day's gone. You are right, exactly what you said. There are loads of good things about CrossFit. There are some bad things about CrossFit in terms of the way it's managed, I would say, not in terms of like the actual sport itself. But the one thing which I think the drum has consistently been banged is those touch points with your members. Do you know their name? Are you asking them when they're back in again? And have you given them a cue or two in the workout so they feel seen and they've taken something on and be like, oh, that did feel better. So that again, then you're getting that value. And that's where they're great.
I had an amazing like epiphany moment when I spoke to Shax and Mambo and Ed Mason when I went down there. They have like a golden rule, and I don't even know if they still do it, but their coaching team's like 30, 40 strong now. He used to say, within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the class, their coaches had to have an interaction with every single person that was in there. You know, and like how little is easy as that. You know, right, how are you, mate? And you literally have a 10-second conversation as you're walking around the next person, and you have to address them by name. So that they automatically, everyone feels, let me, like, he actually knows who I am.
It's important.
It's really, really important. And that was something that we've always done really well, I think.
You spoke about open gym and how anyone could come in, say, from 9 until 4 and train. How many people would love having a day off work? Rained off. Called in sick, whatever, so they could come and train. So they could come and train with you guys. So I think that's really important. Like, when you are an affiliate owner, your members tend to look up to you a little bit. So the fact that, you know, you've gone out of your way, because you do care, right? I think, and I don't think you're going to disagree with me, you are not rich in terms of finances being an affiliate owner.
Definitely.
You're not, right? And you're probably not going to find an affiliate owner that tells you any different. But you are rich in terms of time and the reward that you get. Now, some affiliates make more money than others, obviously, but I think you're in it because you care. You want those interactions. It's so important. And the reward you get from, like, I've just told someone, great air squat. And they're buzzing. And that's nothing for you to give that. Do you know what I mean? And it was genuine. And there is a little bit of reward in that for you as a coach. I think that's one of the best things.
We had as well, like, it was almost like a marker, and like me and JD would text literally like 20, 30 times a day, even when the classes have finished, and you'd be text like, did you see so-and-so take their top off for the first time?
Yeah.
That's like a marker for me. Or the first time that, you know, a girl took their
T-shirt
and they just had the sports bra on, right? Or whatever. That was like they've
the
been
confidence.
training. Yeah, they're training for 3 to 4 months. They start to see the change in the mirror. They start to see other people who are taking their tops off as well. And they think, fuck me, I'm gonna have a bit of that. You know, whip it off. And now that, you know, that's like your rite of passage, right?
Feel confident.
And then you think, and then it takes what, 10 seconds to say, cool, you're looking a bit leaner, or you know, cool, your shoulders looking big. And it's just those interactions all the time, like just paying attention to people. And that for me, yeah, like you said, you can give someone a little cue on an air squat, or you can tell someone something that, you know, keeps their head and chest up from the first pull when they're clean, whatever.
Yeah.
Or it can be something like tops off today, is it? And a little wink or something like, you know, I think that's the best thing about it is seeing that, you know, people glow.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. You can see weights going up, right?
Yeah.
And that's a nice, easy tracker, but absolutely, like how's someone feeling, like you said, they've taken off the t-shirt, or they're just in the sports bra, or it's now, it used to be leggings and now it's shorts because they're feeling yeah. So mate, I think those things are really important, and we see it, and I could name drop a few, and I was gonna, but I'm actually not gonna, because I might possibly embarrass someone, but I've seen that, where I've seen guys particularly come in, and then, you know, after maybe 3 or 4 months, because they're hitting it hard and they're loving it, and they're addicted, right? Which I love, when that CrossFit bites you and you've got it. And I say, when you get the bug, it's the best thing ever. Like, ride that wave, right? And then you see that top come off, and you'll be like, yeah, you do look great. You're starting to see the abs form, and like a bit of definition in the traps and shoulders, and those are great moments.
You've got the buy-in as well. You know, once they start seeing change in themselves, physically and mentally, they then turn up with the new nanos or the new Metcons.
Yeah.
They've got, you know, the CrossFit Games t-shirt on. They're starting to buy the merch. They've got their first gymnastics wraps. They've got their lifters. They've got their knee sleeves. You know, the CrossFit wankers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like they've gone from like your prime example, right? You turn up just in your footy top and a pair of any trainers that you had, and then like 2 months down the line, you're designing your own lifters.
I remember.
And I feel like that again, it's the buy-in, right? That is the biggest thing. If you can get them buying into what you are doing in there, and the culture is right, and you are having those individual conversations and in bits of feedback, good and bad, like constructive criticism's really important as well. That's the longevity that I feel that is really important with Civi, especially with membership, right? We've probably had the same members now from 2013. I say they 2013 all the way through to the second I left.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned culture and you mentioned community in your last couple of comments. In terms of community and culture, what did it mean to you when you were hearing those words back in 2013? Was Shaq saying those words to you, or was it not really like that then? And then did those words get more relevant as your business grew, your membership grew, you're going to new spaces, you're going to SID and stuff like that? So like, what did community and culture mean to you in 2013? And when did we like, oh, fuck me, we need to get this in check, we need to be here? Like,
it was the buzzword at one point, you know, we've got the best community. No one can rival our community, you know, and it was...
Can't measure it.
But what actually is it, right? And I felt like, been in sport my whole life, me and JD, super competitive, like race each other. I never used to win, but we used to race each other all the time. And then you'd get, you know, Sharpies and people like that will come in, and they want to be beating someone, and then the next 2-3 people come in, and then amazing. How good was he? Like, amazing, right? And all these people come, and then we had like the female standard as well. Like, I remember when Cherie started first getting really, really good, she was going to all these comps, and she was like a sponsored athlete, you know, with this time, and everyone was like, oh, I want to, you know, get into it as well. And we were really lucky enough to have all these women competing. So I think that is part of your culture, right? That's that sort of lion's den feel, as I touched on earlier. Like, you do your open workout. What score did you get? Oh, I'm not telling you. Because you didn't want them to have a marker to go to. Or then it started being that when we first started getting in like team up and WOD board and whatever it was, the leaderboard, you'd start putting your times in last.
Yeah, that's one, mate. So we get people do it now. It's brilliant.
And then someone else enters their time, and then you see an edited one later. I couldn't have been a minute behind them. You know what I mean? So that was like the competitive culture side of it. But as we grew, I feel this is probably the same with the Monarchy and with any other local affiliate. You need to cater for more than your athletes, right? Otherwise, you're not going to, you're not going to survive,
No,
because there's
absolutely.
a really small percentage of the small percentage of the small percentage that want to go to the CrossFit Games. The other people just want to come and find a place to work out and feel comfortable. So that was like a big shift for us, community.
When did you notice that then? So like, I remember, so I reckon I joined in what, 2013, 14?
Yeah.
And then I must have been with you every day for 3 years?
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
So let's say 3 years. For me, in that time, it was exactly how you described it. It was an environment where everyone wanted to beat everyone. It was chucking yourself under whatever weight was on a barbell, buzzing about your mates hitting it, but wanting to
win.
wanting to win, wanting to be on the leaderboard, wanting to beat someone. So I've never seen it any different to how I do, how it is at my affiliate, and exactly how you describe. We need to cater for everyone. When did you notice that change where it was like, hang on a minute, not everyone wants to be barked at, like you said, a Marine, not everyone wants to go to the CrossFit Games. When did you see like, hang on a minute, we are losing out on a...
And that was the biggest conversation, right? Where's our other membership pool coming from? So I think we'd always cater to the best and scale to the rest. And, and that was sort of like what we like to have it. But in the same breath, like there's people coming in and we were scaring them off. And that was like, we had to sit down and we were like, this workout is kicking their ass and we're screaming at them to go, and some of these people can't even air squat properly. So then it was like, it wasn't like we went on a course and discovered how to do this.
No.
It's just trial and error. And
retention wasn't as high as it used to be.
Why are we losing these 5 people that are coming in for the intro? After 2 sessions, we're not seeing them again because it's too hard, it's too intense, we're too in your face. So then it goes back to that conversation with you, like sort of knowing who you can do that to.
Who wouldn't instigate those conversations? So like, I could be wrong in what I'm about to say, but definitely correct me if I am. I always looked at Jono as being sort of maybe in the back, being a bit organised, making sure maybe the bills were paid, and then you were at the front and you were a bit more
client facing.
Yeah, a bit more client facing. Would ear to the ground, know what's going on, what clicks are going on. Was there a little bit of a Barney between people? Does that make sense? So if I was to look at you, and I'm talking about 2013, 14, 15, 16, I can't talk about any time before because I haven't spent that much time with you. But back then, that kind of felt like that was your role. So would that be you reflecting, or is John going, hang on a minute, we had 100% retention and now we've got 0? Or did you both pick up on this stuff? Did someone lead it?
I think a fair description is that he was always the brains behind what we wanted to do, right? And I was always the person that would deliver at the start. Like, he obviously wasn't as confident in introductions, and we'd do it together and he'd be the person demoing. But as time goes on, you know what it's like, right? You just get into your groove, and then he would be meeting groups and bits and pieces of that. So, and I think that's probably a fair assumption at the start, but quickly after a small period of time, it was very much that we would both be more client facing. I think because maybe I was on the microphone at competitions, and that people would assume, and I'm more of a outgoing sort of social person in those situations, that people would feel like I was the person who does do that, like you said. But I would say that's unfair on him from a customer delivery point of view. Like, I still think that I'm not for everyone,
Of multiple personalities,
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And like sometimes I think that like that almost easier, softer approach, like my eyes staring at you as soon as you come through the door, like, hey, and they're like, oh shit, and then whereas John might be a little bit of a smoother, oh hi, I'm John, like, nice to meet you, do you want to bed, you want to put... So I think, again, like, to have multiple personalities in those scenarios caters for more. And it was him that, like you said there, we're losing out on this big pool of people. How can we change as a group? And that was really beneficial to the membership base there.
Yeah, I think we had our pre-interview a couple of weeks ago, and there's loads of things we spoke about, and I really enjoyed it, mate, because it was nice to
just catch up.
One, really nice to catch up. It'd been far too long. But 2, also, we can really relate now. So I'm now an affiliate owner. You have been. You're working in the corporate world. I always have been, right? So we've like really aligned in terms of where our paths are. So loads of things where, like, you were saying things, I'm like, yeah, bang on. And I was probably saying some things, and you're like, yeah, bang on, type thing. At what point, or what do you learn that's been beneficial to your transition into the corporate world? Because you've cleaned toilets, you've mopped floors, you've marked down on Excel spreadsheets, you've put stickers on clothing labels, you've coached, You've been on the microphone events. You've run charity events where you're selling cakes. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you've literally worn every hat there is in the world. Does that give you skills moving into where you are now?
Yeah.
And like, how are they transferable?
Well, without doing what I did at Civitas, I'd have never have met half the people you would have, right? All
Yep.
these people in corporate jobs that you're then having a coffee with, and you're like, hear what they're up to, or, you know, and you learn in little bits and pieces. So, and again, going back to that personal approach, going into the corporate, and there was another new starter, similar role to what I am. I'm client delivery, have to introduce ourselves, stood around a table of like 15 people, client facing, right? And I'm thinking, well, I've done toaster bar demos, you know, I've stood in front of 500 people with a microphone talking about CrossFit events. I've gone in front of cameras, you know, we've done so many things where you just sort of leave your ego out of it, right? Am I going to sound like a twat when I'm on the podcast? I don't care. Like, do you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
Whereas I went into that scenario and I stood up and I can talk about my history because I, you know, was 35 when I left Civitas and started with ARC. Stand up, say a little bit about yourself, what you've done, tick some boxes. The other person stood up and said, "Hello, my name's Tim," and that's it. You know, and they're like, you know, and those things, like, it just makes you really, really mature in those settings because you know
you're hardened.
Yeah,
you're hardened to like tripping up on the microphone, going to do a demo and like tripping over a kettlebell. Honestly, or anything. And also, that's all in front of your mates who are going to hammer you.
Do you know what my worst ever thing was doing the fake scenario based stuff on the level 1s and the level 2, right? Yeah. Oh, I used to fucking dread it. And JD was even worse, right? And you'd get split up. We'd come together thinking we could get away with doing a scenario to each other and go under that, but they're like, no, you need to split up and go someone else. Hello, like, I'm Kieran, like, I'm over CrossFit Civitas in Melksham, and then you like critique their push jerk and stuff like that, and then you get in the middle of the circle and you're doing that head tilt, looking at everyone, all the CrossFitters, fine, you haven't extended your hips, or you've got a muted hip there, and like, so we've been embarrassed loads more times, and like you say, you just get hardened to it. So those skills have been so transferable, and also just like organizing for a throwdown, whether it's your miniature little throwdown or it's a charity one or it's like the big ones that we used to do. You have to have every single thing lined up, right? Sponsorship, judges, merchandise, workouts, time caps, floor space, ordering kit, you know, the
changeover of kit,
you know, and
all the way down to the clean down.
And then you've got your checklist, and then not only just doing that, jump on the microphone, talk about the workouts. Then if someone's judge is being too harsh, you're getting waved over for that, right? So you are running around like a blue ass fly, getting every single area sort of checked off, and you're doing so many different jobs. When you go into corporate now, you give me the checklist on how to deliver a project. I know it's a different market, but in the same breath, like, I sail through that.
Yeah,
you know, you've got 10 things to manage, but before me bring it on, I've just done 120. You know, and that's the same for running affiliate. So those transferable organizational skills are really helpful. And like, I'm a massive control freak, and I don't mind saying it, you know, like, I want to know every single thing that's going on with my project, same as if I was delivering the Civitas 22 event, you know. So I think that sort of crossover has really, really helped in just being able to speak to people. But again, it comes back to what you say, and you're very similar, or were very similar, is that we'll go and talk to anyone. I'll go and have a coffee with anyone. I will go and have a beer with anyone. Like, I even still do that now to people that I haven't seen from Civitas. Some people don't like doing that.
Yeah.
They just don't. So when you're trying to build internal relationships in a situation, or, you know, you're trying to build rapport with your clients to make sure that they're not going to kick your ass if your project's going to be delivered a little bit late and you've got to drop them bad news, have to have that ability to build relationships. And I think that's so important.
It's trust and rapport, right?
Yeah.
You want to, and it's something that I came into coaching super late, and I was basically kind of checked in at the deep end, but handheld all the way through by Ryan and Verity, which was great for me. However, in all of my jobs that I've done, where they have always been customer facing, is about building trust and rapport with that individual as soon as possible. That naturally came easy with my membership base. So where I lacked the skill gap of knowledge and maybe being able to spot something that Ryan Verity could, I could still make sure that person had felt seen and left being like, oh yeah, I feel good. And that was my biggest push at the start. It's different now. That still is my strength, but it's different now. But I think that trust and rapport is key.
And what would you say is the most important out of those two?
I actually think it's the trust and rapport.
100%.
So
100%.
I think there are people who want to master everything in terms of their personality type. Ryan White,
Yeah.
you've trained with Ryan. So he wants to be able to do the movement 10 out of 10, right? And then there's other people that just want to move. And they do care about the movement as long as they're doing the right movement and they're not being embarrassing themselves, right? But they're probably not too bothered if they're doing a push press and it should be a push jerk, right? Fine. But they like the fact that they are getting either, you know, fucking well done, mate. You did that, or a little, just something. So yeah, for me, it's definitely delivering on, has that person feel seen? Have I had an interaction with them? And more importantly, they're giving me their hour. And I want to make sure in that hour they've had a good time. And they've worked. Like, no one's slacking on my watch, but more importantly, I want them to leave and be like, that was worth it. That was worth maybe getting it here from the missus or going because they've had to look after the kid and do dinner. Do you know what I mean? So I think those things are really important.
I think so many times you'll forget what people say, but you never forget how someone's made you feel, right? In that sense. And that's just one of the best bits of advice I could give to anyone without sounding like on Oracle.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
Someone's going to forget a cue about setting up for a clean, but like, how good are they going to feel with the high five after for hitting their 70 kilo squat clean for the first time ever, right? So that for me is always been like at the forefront, right? Yeah, I love to get the coaching points right, but some people, like you said, just don't give a fuck if they're doing a push jerk or a push press, right? So once you've told them 3 times, we need to think of something else to approach them with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I agree.
And if that sits in your mind, you're like, you're not doing a push jerk. You've lost what the idea is of that.
Of course.
Of that sort of class for them, right? You need to leave that alone. They've not done a push jerk 3 times now. They're push pressing. Like, they're not locking out their push jerk above head. Their knees are still bent. Let it go, right? But make sure that they've still felt really good about the hour in class. And that's what I said. I think that's so much more important than that. And we used to joke about it all the time, right? Oh, nice first pull and stuff like that. You know, we used to have the
Steve,
tag,
right?
like, yeah. So we used to do that all the time. But again, it comes back to, you have that relationship with someone, you know what you can say to them. You could not say that to a new person because they would not take that. Yeah. And at the start, I was doing that more, right? I was being too critical because we were in this sort of setting that Sergeant Major taking CrossFit. You need to make sure that your chest hits the floor on the push-up. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Right? It really does. But in the same breath, we're not digging people out to making them feel like they're not adequately moving or having a good workout. Leave that alone a little bit and then just make sure, did they have a good time in the session, right?
Yeah, I agree. Kieran, that is everything for our episode 1.
Fantastic.
All right. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, tune in next Friday for episode 2, where we will get into the nuts and bolts about partnership, pressures, and more importantly, running a profitable business. Thank you very much.